All right. If you're seeing chapter 1, you can type C1 in the chat box if you're seeing chapter 1. So people who have joined today are really lucky. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Who are really lucky, we just because started what is Six Sigma in the last session, and I will continue this today. Okay. This is unit 1. What is Six Sigma? Okay. I'll just quickly recap. It's a data-driven processes and decisions. And we will talk about defining Six Sigma. We'll talk about Six Sigma principles, challenges, okay? And let's go into the details of this. And if you really wanted to get this presentation, it's very important that you become a part of this. I'll share it inside this channel, okay? All right. No, it's a methodology. You can call it as a methodology. It's a process improvement methodology, a statistical concept, okay, that seeks to define variation. Actually, variation is the root cause of many problems. I'm just stopping to share my screen so that I can explain you. Variation is the root cause of many problems. How many of you agree? Just type agree in the chat box. Let me help you explain. Suppose if the blood pressure varies drastically from 200 to 300 to 400, what would happen? So variation. Second is, suppose if your sugar level shoots up, suddenly you're normal, suddenly it shoots up to the same, variation. All right? So minimizing the variation will ensure that you get stability. You get a sort of a balance. How many of you agree with this? So minimizing variation, creating stability is very, very important. All of you type stability in the chat box. Okay, stability. Okay, now important thing. Stability does not mean capability. Okay, stability does not mean capability. Okay, let me help you understand this. Suppose somebody is admitted for in the ICU, okay, and his blood pressure is varying too much. Okay, let's say it's varying from 150 to 250 or 300. Okay, it's varying, but then you sort of take tablets or administer that person, and his blood pressure becomes stable between, let's say, 180 to 200. Do you think that is normal? I mean, that is still okay? If the blood pressure is stable between 180 to 200, okay, do you think it's a normal condition? No. It is stable, but he's still not capable of coming. Okay. Now, if you've understood stability and capability on a scale of 1 to 10, please type 9 or 10 if you're super clear about this. This is very important to understand. Now, first bring in stability by minimizing the variation and then take it to the target value, which is about 100 or 110 or 120. If this is clear, type CC, crystal clear, in the chat box. So with that, I will share the screen one more time. All right. Good. So minimizing variation is very, very important. Now I'll define the Six Sigma. How do we define this Six Sigma? Okay, now, if you see here, methodology for process improvement, there is a vast library. First, all of you type methodology in the chat box. It's a methodology, okay? And you can also call tools and techniques. You can type TT in the chat box. It's a tools and techniques. And it's also a philosophy. You can type Phil in the chat box. So you can call it as a philosophy. You can call it some methodology. Inside it, there is a lot of tools and techniques. You can call it as, Six Sigma tools and techniques and all that. Whatever you call that as, okay? It's a way of life. All of you type WOL in the chat box. Way of life. It's a way of life. Why it's a way of life? Because everywhere, if you want to bring in quality, you need to reduce variation, stabilize it, and bring it towards a target of what is acceptable. So it has to become way of life. All right. So at the most basic definition, Six Sigma is a statistical representation for what many people call as a perfect process. Statistical representation of what many people may call it as a perfect process. Now, you might have heard this a million times. 3.4 defects per million opportunities. Okay. What is opportunities, etc.? Defects we understand, but what is opportunities, etc.? We'll come to this. Or in other words, if there are a million flights takeoffs, only 3 flights meets with an accident. That's what it means. Okay. Okay. So all of you type 3.4 because take notes. If you're having notes, please take notes. If you're having notebook, I prefer that you take note. 3.4. I'm asking you to type in the chat box because it's a sort of auto suggestion. It keeps repeating, ringing in your mind, this number. Okay. That's why I ask everyone to type 3.4. Okay. Which means out of 1 million, which is 1 followed by 6 zeros, okay, 1 followed by 6 zeros, there are only 3.4 defects, which means it is 99.99966% without any defect. Okay. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Now, at 1 sigma level, at just 1 sigma below, that is 5 sigma, or 99.97% accuracy, they will experience 233 errors. Look at that. Just from 6 sigma, if you go to 5 sigma, then from 3.4, it will go to 233. So in simpler terms, there are going to be many unsatisfied customers if your sigma level reduces. If your sigma level reduces, sigma means it's a standard deviation. Okay, deviation means variation. Okay, I'm just using a crude language. Later on, we'll refine it with statistical language. Okay, so if you have more variations, then you will have a lot of errors and unsatisfied customers. That's what it means. But the point here is, if the sigma level goes down, that means there are more variations. Okay, so the question, what does the term 6 sigma represent in a process? Okay. What is the term in a 6 sigma process? A perfect process with 0 defects, a process with 3.4 defects per million opportunities, a process with 99.97% accuracy, a process with 5 defects per million opportunities. What is the correct answer? Let's see. And people who give correct answers, okay, just encourage them with a lot of chocolates, okay, and ice creams, okay. So the correct answer is B. All of you deserve chocolates and ice creams. So send in a lot of chocolates and ice creams in the chat box, okay. We'll have virtual chocolates and ice creams, okay. All right, let's see some real world examples. Now we'll share some examples like National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and Amazon shipments. We'll just take some 3 examples, real world examples, to illustrate this 6 sigma concept. Okay. All right. I think one flight is already set off. All right. So there are some planes that are flying. Okay. You can see some lovely planes that are flying on the screen, right? All right. So let's take this example of National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. According to them, Okay. The air traffic controllers in the United States handle 28,537 commercial flights every day. All of you type wow in the chat box. WOW, wow, in the chat box. Every day, 28,537 commercial flights. My God, that's great. Now, in a year, approximately 10.4 million flights. All of you type WOWWWW. Wow. 10.6, 10.4 million flights. And it means, okay, so it means based on a 5 sigma air traffic control process, if there is a 5-6, suppose assume that they have reduced variation to a 5 sigma level, errors of some type occur in the process for handling approximately 2,426 flights every year will have an error. Okay. But with the 6 sigma process, the risk drops down to 35.4. Okay. If you really appreciate it, give it a thumbs up in the chat box. Wow. Okay. With 5 sigma levels, you will have 2,426 flight errors every year. Whereas if you increase by 1 sigma, you will have only 35.41 errors of these flights, 10.4 million flights. If that is clear, type SC, super clear in the chat box. Okay, so far, if you're finding it interesting, useful, valuable, interesting, put it in the chat box. Valuable, interesting, superb, fantastic, whatever that you feel, put it in the chat box. Let me also draw some inspiration and give you the next example, which is, what is this? This is Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC reports that approximately 51 million surgeries are performed in United States a given year. 51.4 million surgeries. All right. Thank you, each and every one of you who have put valuable in the chat box. I respect. I'm so happy that all of you are finding it interesting. Please stay till the end for another 15-20 minutes. And also, I'll give you the training manual, the presentations, the recordings, everything will be available to you. Okay. So based on 99.97 accuracy rate, which is 5 sigma level, doctors would make errors of 11,976 surgeries each year, or 230 surgeries will have errors every week. All of you type OMG, oh my God, in the chat box. Or you can also send the emojis of OMG. So many. Imagine 230 surgeries will have a problem every week. But at 6 sigma levels, it is just 3 errors every week. Okay. And with 51.4 million surgeries happening. Okay. All right. At 5 sigma levels, patients are 68 times more likely to experience errors. All of you type 68T in the chat box. 68 times, or 68X in the chat box. 68X means 68 times, right? More. So I just wanted to help you understand the value of 6 sigma as compared to even 5 sigma. Believe me, many of the small and medium enterprises are not even at, forget about 6 sigma, forget about 5 sigma, forget about 4 sigma, forget about 3 sigma. They are not even, they are between 1 to 2 sigma. And that's the reason I want all of you to understand this amazing problem solving methodology and make yourselves so valuable. It is like you become like a commando training, okay, to actually fight against the variation and waste. Okay, so 99.9% accurate. What does it mean? Okay, while most people accept 99.9% accuracy as like very good, okay, the above example highlights a wide gap between Six Sigma and Five Sigma levels. Okay, so Six Sigma is really 3.14 defects per million opportunities. So the cost associated with each error becomes exponentially higher. So let's see, the last example is Amazon shipments. How many of you have used Amazon? Type me in the chat box. I'm sure all of you would have used Amazon, right? Of course, all of you, no doubt. I don't think anybody will not use Amazon, right? Amazon services. Now, okay, let me bring you back to this, okay? So far, if you liked my presentation, if you liked my training sessions, this is the way that I conduct in my inner circle community also. I wanted each and every one of you to get internationally recognized, okay? And join this upcoming webinar where I'll be explaining you how to get an internationally recognized certification, okay? All right. There is something called as Amazon deal. You would have heard about Prime Day, okay, Amazon deals, Cyber Monday, okay, etc., etc. Okay, so Amazon process millions of orders, right? So this is one example. A decade back in 2013, in one of the example that case studies that been given was 36.8 million orders that they processed. And let's assume that each order error costs the company at $35, okay, on average of $35. So I want all of you to understand this question very well, this statement very well, okay. The cost of each error is $35. If you have understood this, type SC super clear in the chat box. The cost of, if they make one error in processing, the cost of that error is $35. And imagine they process 37 million orders. Okay. Now, when they process this 36.8 million, the errors are 8574 errors at a 5 sigma level. Okay. And with $35, it is about $300K. All of you type OMG, oh my God, in the chat box. Okay. This is too much, right? Imagine $300,000. 0.3 million, right? $0.3 million. Okay, now let's assume that all of you become Six Sigma experts and help Amazon reduce the errors to Six Sigma levels instead of Five Sigma levels. Okay, so the errors are just 125 from 300K. It has dropped out to just to 4K. All of you type wow with a lot of W's in the chat box. And this is, I'm showing all this, flashing all this just to help you understand how reduction in variation will help you a lot. Right? Awesome. And this is what is 300K to 4K. The cost difference in Six Sigma levels is still over 295. Okay, there's a difference. Okay. So let's look at the Cyber Monday at the other levels of Six Sigma. This is where I wanted to introduce you to a Six Sigma level. At Six Sigma level, it is 4K, whereas at 5 Sigma level, it is 300K. And at 4 Sigma level, it becomes unit, how much is this? 79 lakhs, about 7.9 million. Is that right? At 4 Sigma level, it is about 7.9 million. And at 3 Sigma level, it is about 86 million. My God, all of you type, oh my God, in the chat box. This is what is the cost of errors for Amazon if it is at a lower Six Sigma, higher Six Sigma level, lower the variation and better the things. So if all these examples helped you to really understand the concept of Six Sigma, just comment whatever that you felt in the chat box, okay? If all of these examples, 3 examples I showed you, helped you understand the concept of Six Sigma, just put it in the chat box, okay? So at lower levels of Six Sigma, any process is unlikely to be profitable, okay? So for most organizations, Six Sigma process are a constant target. Achieving and maintaining the Six Sigma perfection is difficult and requires continuous process improvement. Even advancing from lower levels of Six Sigma to 4 Sigma or 5 Sigma has a drastic impact on cost and customer satisfaction. All right. So let's calculate the Six Sigma levels. How many of you are ready? Just type ready in the chat box. Let's calculating Six Sigma levels. Good. And this is also quite interesting, how to calculate the Six Sigma levels. Now, opportunities minus the number of defects divided by total number of opportunities into 100 is equal to yield percentage. Okay. Let me help you understand this. I'll stop sharing the screen for some time. Okay. And discuss with you what I mean. Okay. Let me share. Okay. Let's say that this is the invoice. Okay. Let's say that this is of course, my green belt program, what I did for one of the client. Let's assume that this is a invoice. Okay. Now, assume that you have 100 invoices. So each invoice is units, 1 unit. Each invoice is 1 unit. Okay. Now, how many units are there? All of you type 100 in the chat box. I'll go step by step, slowly and steadily, so that you understand this. Yeah. Okay, 100 units are there. Okay. Now, if this is, let's say that brochure, and let's say that they can make mistakes on the dates here. For example, there is a date here. Let's say that they can make a mistake in this date, or they can make a mistake, let's say in the, okay, in my photograph, let's say, okay. Assume that, okay, all the others by default, everything will be okay. Okay. So there are 2 ways in which, let's say that they put a wrong trainer's photograph and they put a wrong date. Okay. These are, every possibility for a mistake is called as opportunity. Okay. If this is clear, type SC, super clear, in the chat box. For every possibility, for example, if it is a purchase order, they might make a mistake in the supplier code or supplier quantity or the supplier item. That means there are 3 opportunities for defects. If it is clear, type SC in the chat box. Okay. Now, there are 100 units and there are 3 opportunities per unit. 3 opportunities per unit. So totally, how many opportunities are there for making a defect? If there are 100 units, 300. Simple. 300 opportunities are there for making a defect. Fantastic. 300 opportunities. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, if you make, let's say that out of 100, I'll just pause the chat for some time. Please focus on what I'm saying. I'll quickly repeat what I said. I said there are 100 units. Let's say it's an invoice copy, 100 invoices. There are 3 possible ways in which they can make a mistake. Let's say that the supplier code or the item or the quantity. These are the 3. So 3 opportunities. Now, in this 100 units, there are 300 opportunities because 3 into 100 is 300. That's clear. Now, suppose if there are errors in these invoices, let's say that 5 invoices has errors, and in one invoice, let's say that all the 3 are a problem. Supplier code is a problem, the item is a problem, the units is also a problem. So it's completely defective invoice. Okay. Likewise, I find that 5 defective invoices and there are total number of defects. Let's say that, so in 5 invoices, how many defects, total number of defects possible? Let's see quickly, somebody answers. In 5 invoice, yeah, 15 is possible. Simple, right? Let's say, okay, I'll just pause. Let's say that there are 8 defects. In 100 invoices, 5 defectives and there are 8 defects. Okay. Now, I want you to calculate. I've given you number of defects is 8. Number of opportunities is 3, and we said total number of opportunities is 300. I wanted you to say what is defect per opportunity. 300 opportunities, let's say 9 defects for easier calculation, 9 defects. Okay. What is defect per opportunity? It's called DPO, defect per opportunity. How much is the defect per opportunity? Let me repeat the question. 9 defects and 300 opportunities. 9 divided by 300. Okay. 9 divided by 300. All of you type 9/300. That is the defect per opportunity. If you want to calculate defect per million opportunities, it is 9/300. 9 into 10 power 6 divided by 300. This is defects per million opportunities. 9 into 10 power 6. Okay, defects per opportunity. Correct, Vikas. 9 divided by 9 into 10 power 6, because 10 power 6 is million. 9 into 10 power 6 divided by. So this is defects per million opportunities. All of you type DPMO. So if this comes down to 3.4, that means it's a 6 sigma process. If this comes to 3.4, that means it's a 6 sigma process. Okay. So if this is clear, I really want all of you on a scale of 1 to 10, give me a 9 or 10 if you have clearly understood what is DPMO. Defects per million opportunities. So here I'm just going to quickly show you an example. Consider a process. Let's say they are distributing letters. Okay. I'll finish it in 5 minutes. Okay. They are distributing letters. This is a marketing company. And imagine that the process inserts 30,000 letters. Okay, in a pre-addressed envelopes each day. Each day, 30,000 letters are. Okay. And in a given business week, the process outputs 1.5 lakh letters. Okay. Maybe 5 into 30,000, which is 1.5 lakh letters. So far, if you are with me, just type WU with you in the chat box. They are distributing letters. They are inserting 30,000 letters every day in a week. In a business week, maybe 5 days, 5 into 30,000, which is 1.4 letters. Okay. Okay, fine. You are with me? Great. Now, the marketing department begins receiving complaints that people are receiving letters in the envelopes that are addressed to them, but letters inside is addressed to or relevant to someone else. Okay. The outside cover address is correct, my address, but inside letter is somebody else's letter. Okay. It is addressed to some other name. It is addressed to some other name. So the marketing department randomly selects 1,000 letters. 1,000 letters means 1,000 units. Okay. And they find that 5 of them have errors. So applying to the total amount of 1.5, okay, you can multiply that with 150. So 150 into 5, which is 750 letters could have errors. If you are with me so far, type WU with you in the chat box, because this is where people might miss the bus. Okay, then just, if you don't focus. Okay, so 1,000 letters could only be taken. And okay, thank you very much. 1,000 letters could be taken and 5 of them had errors. And since there are 1.5 lakhs, they are assuming they've extrapolated and said it is 750 letters that could have errors. Now, there are 750 defects for 1.5 lakh opportunities. Let's say that there's only one defect. The name is a defect. Okay, one opportunity. So for 1.5 lakh opportunities. So it is 1.5 lakhs minus 750, which is error, divided by this, and that is an yield of 99.5. Okay. That's an yield of 99.5. An yield of 99.5, if you see from the table, I'll share with you the Six Sigma table. So it's somewhere around at 4 to 4.1 sigma level. Okay. 4 to 4.1 Six Sigma level. So if you're clear on this, type SC, super clear, in the chat box. If you're clear with this, type super clear in the chat box. So we found what is a sigma level. We have calculated what is a sigma level. This table is easily available. Even if you put in chat GPT, it will give you the output. These days you need not have to see the table also. So if you see that I have an yield of 99.5, what is my sigma level? It will give you the sigma level. Okay. This is using AI these days for do that. Okay. So far, if you found my session interesting, useful, valuable, fantastic, awesome, just put it in the chat box.